Hey guys, what's up? It's jjaaxxthelegend, and today I'm here with the Minecraft redstone tutorial. And in this week's tutorial, I'm going to be showing you guys how to build a really cool way to store your items. A redstone silo that can also turn the items you don't want into bone meal. So let's go and have a look at that now. Okay, if I turn around here, you can see I have my automatic pumpkin and melon farm. If I walk over here, you can see this beautiful silo that I've created here. If I walk over here and open this chest, you can see I've got a lot of pumpkins and melons. And because of the lights, I know that I've got at least 2 double chests full and maybe even 3. The best thing about this is that just by opening this one, I have access to all of them, because if I take out a stack of melon slices here, you can see it instantly starts to fill up. But say I say to myself, I've got way too many melons and pumpkins, I just need to get rid of a few. I can flick this lever, and you can see some of the melons are starting to disappear, and the pumpkins, just there. And you can see some bone meal will be popping up here soon. So that just went from 31 to 32. And that is really cool, because if you leave that going for like around an hour, just with this turned on while AFKing, you get quite a lot of bone meal, and then you can flick that off and AFK for another hour or something like that, so you can split your hours. But my favorite thing visually about this build is this awesome water transportation system that you can fully see going up. All of the items going up. And I'm also going to be showing you guys how to build this. So now you've seen it, let's hop into my super awesome redstone flat world. See you guys there. Okay, I am now in my super awesome desert flat world with some farms behind me and the automatic silo system. So this is exactly like the one that I built in the overworld, except instead of a farm, I've got a chest here that we're imagining as the farm. So if I place some pumpkins in this chest, you can clearly see the pumpkins rising up through the water tube, going into the hoppers, and getting fed through our chest system. And once those items hit here, this comparator detects that there's items in there and powers the light at the front. Once this chest here and this hopper here gets filled up, this one here will start to fill up, and that's when the second light will turn on. So, when there's any item in this chest, the light will turn on, and then the same with the next one and the next one, going up. But if I've got way too many pumpkins in here, that's 62, that's a lot of pumpkins, and I don't want that many, I can just flick this lever. This hopper down here will unlock, because of this redstone torch will be powered off, allowing pumpkins to flow through into our compost here, which will then get fed into our transportation system, which will then be put into our chest, and we've already got 3 bone meal. And then if I'm like, oh no, I want to keep those last 18 or 17 pumpkins, 16, I can just turn this off and this light will go off as well. Okay, not only can you hook this straight to your farm, but you can also hook it up to an item sorter to sort out, say, wheat and seeds, or pumpkins and melons. To do this, I'm just going to build a quick little design of an item sorter. It's not going to be exact. It's going to be some chests like this, which is how most item sorters run. Then some hoppers going into the back of them. And to connect this up, you want to break all of your chests here. And then instead of these hoppers going into chests, they need to go into each one of these hoppers have to go into their own sort of water column here that feeds them into their own silos. If you're doing it like that, you need to build 4 separate silos. Now that I have that out of the way, let's get going with the tutorial. First thing you want to do is grab out these materials. This is going to be for the bottom composting system. Now you can build all of this except for the composter if you're waiting for your Minecraft world to be updated, or if you're in the snapshot, you can of course add the composter now. And this is the exact materials that you need, like quantity and all, except for if you move a few of the chests using hoppers and things like that. And you probably don't need 64 blocks, but you can just grab quite a few. Okay, once you've done that, dig out a 5x8 hole that is 3 deep, so the front is the 8 long side. Once you have dug out that 8x5 hole, come to the front side and then go into the bottom right corner with all the stuff in your inventory and count 3 blocks in, including the block you're on. 1, 2, 3. And then walk in 2 blocks, so 1, 2, not including the one you're standing on. Place 1 block, a piece of redstone, then another block on top of it, and this will have to be a building block. Now I only put 1 piece of brick in there, or 1 piece of the building block, because depending on how big you're making this, it could be like 52,000, or it could just be like 10 if you're not really decorating this at all. Then you want to place your lever on this block here, and next to that a redstone lamp. Then in front of that piece of redstone, place another block with a repeater facing into nothing. Then on the face of that repeater, place a block by holding shift and clicking on it. Then on the face of that block, place a redstone torch that should be powered on. When you flick this lever, the lamp should turn on, but the torch should turn off. Coolio, let's move on to the next thing. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to grab out a composter, but like I said, if you're in the 1.13 update, you can just add a block there for when you update your world, or you don't have to add this bit if you're in one below and you don't want to update your world. And you want to come one to the side of this torch, so one, and at the same level of the torch, place a composter. Then, grab out a hopper. There's a hopper going straight into the composter by holding shift and clicking on it. And then place a hopper that's connected to that hopper going into the composter that's going over this redstone torch. So now, because my redstone torch is on and my lamp is off, when I try and throw an item into this hopper, it does not go in. But when I do like this and turn my redstone torch off and my lamp on, it does go in, but it does not go into this composter because you cannot compost metal. That'd be weird if you could though. Now that you've done that, come to the side of, fall down and come to the side of this composter, and then place two droppers. Make sure the droppers, not dispensers, directly on top of each other. 1, 2, going into the sky. Then place a hopper going into that bottom dropper coming out of the bottom of this composter. Just like that. So that's what it should look like so far, and I'll just get a sky view for you guys. Okay, we have done that. Now it's time to do the final part. And that is, grab out some redstone repeaters, comparators, some redstone, some chests, and some hoppers, and I'm pretty sure that's all you'll need. Oh, and some building blocks. And to start, come to this dropper here, and on the side furthest from the wall, so not that side, but this side here, place a comparator coming out of the dropper, which goes into a block, and then coming out of that block, going to your right, place a redstone repeater, then place a comparator which is turned on by right-clicking it, and surround that comparator with redstone, and bring redstone one to the side here, going into the wall, then place another redstone repeater going back into that dropper. So when I put an item in here, you can see it gets spurted up. Now what you want to do is come to where you want your chest to be, so I'm just going to place mine in a nice simple position like this, and then connect a hopper chain starting from the top of this dropper like this, and making it go straight into that. Now it could be there, or it could even be, say, here. I'm going to keep mine there though, I reckon that looks good. So 2 hoppers and then that. But if you could have this over at your base and this silo is at your farm, and it could be a single or double chest depending on how much bone meal you think you're going to create. And if you want this to look extra good, I recommend grabbing out some building blocks and surrounding your chests at the bottom with it, so you don't see straight through, because you can actually see through the sides even when there's a block placed there, and you might see some orange wool when you open the chest, which doesn't look the best. So place some blocks there on the bottom. Okay, for the next part, I haven't given you the exact amounts, I've given you the exact amount of few things. For my design, you are going to need 16 chests, some redstone dust, 8 comparators, 2 redstone repeaters, some hoppers, some building blocks, some redstone lamps, and some bricks. Now, of course, you can extend this all the way up, like 10 blocks. I've got mine at 8, so I have 16 chests, so 1, 2, or 8 double chests. And you can make this go up to, say, like 20 high, which would be awesome. But I'm not using that much storage, and I think that's still quite a lot of storage, so I'm just going to be using 8 double chests. So grab out all these items and chuck them into your inventory, and walk over to your 8x5 hole. Okay, now that you've gotten all these materials and you're over by 8x5 hole, come to the back and walk over and stand on this hopper that has the redstone torch underneath it, and make sure this redstone torch is turned on and this lamp is turned off. Then place 1 single chest on that hopper, then behind that chest place another one, so you get this double chest like this. Then add a few blocks around it, just to make it look good, for a little while. And then, oh, you'll need a slab. You grab out a slab, and then grab out a slab and place it straight in front of this chest, so you can access this once we've added the redstone lamps on, which we're going to do now. Now, depending on how many chests you have, that's the amount of redstone lamps you want. So I'm going to have 8. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But you might want 10, so you might have 2 more. But I'm going to have 8. Okay, so now that you've done this, come to the back of your chest like so. Place a hopper on the back half of it, and then place a comparator coming out of the bottom of it. Then make this comparator go into a block which has a piece of redstone on it. Then, looking at the redstone like this, go to your left and place another block diagonally, one up from that block or straight next to the redstone. Then place 3 blocks in front of that, with the redstone repeater coming out of that block that's next to the redstone, going into a piece of redstone, then going into another redstone repeater. Now, here on this side, I do not have to use a redstone repeater, but if you may have accidentally built this on the other side, or your chest come down a different way to mine, because there's 2 ways it can come down. It comes down on this side or this side. You might have to add a repeater there, because otherwise this hopper will get blocked. So if you have to build this on this side, you need to place a repeater, but because I'm building it on the opposite side to my composter, I don't need to place that repeater. Okay, so then what we want to do is place some blocks there, like right along the sides of this, going right up to the top of these lamps and just one over, because I think it looks much better. So now that we've done that, if we put an item in this bottom chest, you can see this light turns on, and if we take it off, the light turns off. Now it's time to hook up all the other chests. Alrighty, now come to the back of this wall, like where we were before, and on top of this hopper place 2 chests going to the opposite side of this redstone mechanic. So like I said before, if you were going to this side, then your next part of redstoning would not work, because you need to place a block here with a comparator, but that would block off this redstone flow. So you need to make sure it's to the opposite side, and if you're building this from the top, just make sure it finishes on the opposite side to this. Then on this one here, put one to the opposite side, and just do this until you hit the very top, or you've hit 8 chests. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then place a hopper like so, going into each one of these chests, so the items can flow through freely, just like that. Now you want to grab out some blocks. Now this could be yellow wool, light blue wool, dirt, any type of block that redstone can be placed on. And directly behind these hoppers, place a block like so, on every single one of these, not including this bottom bit, this bottom hopper here. So on every single one, and on all of those, place a comparator coming out of it, and not the top one there. Place a comparator coming out of that chest to there. So now that we've placed those blocks, just make sure that the comparator is coming out of the chest, and you don't need to put a block on this hopper here, or on this one here. So now, to stop the flow from going through, if I just break this hopper and chuck something in there, you can see it lights up the 4th light on my 8-stack tower. Now if I take that off and add that hopper back, we almost complete this entire build. Okay, now that we've done that, we've completely finished the storage sort of system of this build. Now all we need to do is hook up the transportation system. So let's go do that now. Okay, so the materials you're going to need for this transportation system are some chests, if you're just putting your things into chests and then it's going up. Some hoppers. This can, you might use 64 hoppers, because if your farm's far away, you might use 4. Some droppers, 2 droppers actually, 2 redstone repeaters, 3 comparators, 4 redstone dust, and some glass. Oh, I forgot 2 things. The most important things that actually make the system work. The soul sand and the water. You're going to need quite a few water buckets depending on how high it is. Okay, now you're going to find where you want your water column to be. Now this could be over here, over there, anywhere actually. And then I'm just going to build mine, let's go here. Then you want to build up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, like so. Do that on each side, like this. So it's like a bit like, you know, a cylinder type thing. Then you'll place a soul sand at the very bottom of that. And on the side, you want your items to be dispensed from. So I'm going to have it on this side. Place a dropper. Make sure it's the dropper, not a dispenser, going into the cylinder. Now this is a bit tricky. You might have to break a few blocks. And then place another dropper going into that dropper. Now the reason why we do this is because of the redstoning, the comparator detects it out of that dropper, and then it has to power that dropper again using another comparator like this. If I didn't have that second dropper there, I would have to bring this redstone right around, which is very painful and hard to decorate. Where droppers don't even cost a bow, so it's super simple to make. So, now that you've got those two, it's time to do the redstoning. So grab out a comparator and come to the end drop here, furthest away from the glass, and then place a comparator coming out of that. Make sure it's going away from the outside of your build, so it's not on this side, on the inside. Going into a redstone repeater, which goes into another comparator, which is turned on. And surround that comparator with a redstone, like so. And then place one more piece of redstone and a repeater. Make sure there's a repeater here, because without this repeater, depending on how the server works, these two droppers might not both get powered, because this repeater is powering both of them. So if you have a redstone here on some of my worlds, it will go into here and it won't power both of these droppers. So we need to make sure we've got a repeater there. Now that we've done that, we can place some water coming all the way up, except for the very last block. Just like that, and make sure you're placing it on each level, not just letting it flow down from the top, because otherwise you won't have this cool bubble column effect. And now, grab out some hoppers, and leading the, from this chest here, you can break this one if you're moving it from the other side like me. Just bring a hopper chain right over to where your transportation system is, and then break this glass and bring it one over. Then, bring up your tube to one higher level than this, then surround this one hopper with glass, then build up another layer like so and add a roof. Now before finishing that roof, place your final pieces of water here and here so the water flows onto the hoppers like that. Okay, if we head down to this bottom dropper here, grab some melons from our inventory, the thing that I'm farming, and chuck it into this dropper at the back here, you can see it heading up the water tube and going straight into those hoppers. And then they're getting put into the chest system. So now if I fly around here, you can see the chest system is lit up. And if I jump over here and open my chest, you can see there's melons in here. Okay, now if we head over to this back dropper here and create a hopper line out of it, we can start to create the system that transports it into these droppers. Now to hook this up to your farm, you simply connect it to the hopper or the chest that it's being put into. So say if it's being put into a chest that's at this level here, like so, you can destroy this chest and then bring a hopper chain that goes directly under that hopper like this. So if you put your melons in here, it'll feed right down the hoppers, then go up your system and be put into our silo. Now, any of my automatic farms can be connected to this silo storage. A link for all of those will be in the description down below. But of course, if you're connecting this, say, to an ender pearl farm or a skeleton farm, you may not use the composter. So you can either leave the build the way it is and just never turn the composter on, or you can just not build that part of the silo. So there you have it, an 8 double chest storage silo system that can compost the items you don't need, and that is completely extendable upwards. So, that's going to be the end of this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please leave a like, comment, and remember to subscribe if you're new, and I will see you guys later. Peace. Alright, and remember, stay carbonated.